India is one of the oldest living civilizations on earth. A land that gave the world mathematics, philosophy, yoga, astronomy, and spiritual wisdom. And yet, India also struggles with poverty, corruption, chaotic governance, broken institutions, and deep social contradictions. How can a civilization so ancient still appear so fragile? How can a country so spiritual remain so unequal? How can the world's largest democracy feel so disordered? This contradiction has a name. The Indian Conundrum. India is not a failed nation. India is not a fully successful nation either. India is a civilization caught between its past and its future. What is the Indian Conundrum? The Indian Conundrum is the coexistence of opposites. India is ancient yet modern, spiritual yet materialistic, democratic yet deeply hierarchical, intellectually rich yet institutionally weak. In India, you will find world-class engineers living next to broken roads. You will find ancient temples beside software parks. You will find moral philosophy preached loudly, but ethics practiced quietly. India is not confused because it lacks intelligence. India is confused because it carries too much history at once. Civilizational continuity versus political disruption. India is not just a nation-state. India is a civilization that has survived for over 5,000 years. Unlike Europe, which reinvented itself multiple times, or China, which rebuilt a centralized state early, India followed a different path. Its civilization continued uninterrupted, but its political power did not. Empires rose and fell. Dynasties came and went. Foreign rulers arrived, ruled, and disappeared. But Indian society remained. Language, customs, family systems, beliefs, they survived every conquest. This created a unique problem. India developed a strong society, but a weak, discontinuous state. So today, India remembers like an ancient soul, but governs like a young, inexperienced nation. That is the first layer of the Indian Conundrum. Colonialism and the mental conundrum. British colonialism did more than drain India's wealth. It reshaped how Indians saw themselves. Traditional education systems were dismantled. Local governance structures were replaced. Indian knowledge was declared backward. Western knowledge was declared superior. Slowly, a psychological shift happened. Indians began to doubt their own civilizational confidence. When independence came, the rulers changed. But the system remained largely colonial. The laws were British. The bureaucracy was colonial. The administrative mindset was controlling, not empowering. India became politically free, but mentally dependent. We copied institutions without fully internalizing them. This created a deep identity confusion. Indian society was ancient and organic. Indian institutions were modern but alien. That gap still defines Indian governance today. Democracy without discipline. India adopted democracy in its purest form, universal adult franchise, immediately after independence. This was morally admirable, but institutionally risky. Democracy works best when supported by literacy, civic discipline, strong institutions, social trust. India had democracy first and institutions later. As a result, democracy became emotional rather than institutional. Elections became festivals. Politics became identity-driven. Rights were demanded loudly. Duties were discussed softly. Indian democracy survives, but often struggles to perform. Not because democracy is wrong for India, but because democracy arrived before the system was ready. This is another layer of the Indian conundrum. Society versus state to different speeds. Indian society is incredibly adaptive. People adjust. People hustle. People innovate informally. Street vendors use digital payments. Families create social safety nets. Entrepreneurs succeed despite obstacles. The Indian state, however, moves slowly. Rules are rigid. Processes are outdated. Decisions are centralized. This creates a strange reality. India often progresses despite the system, not because of it. The people run ahead. The state lags behind. When society evolves faster than governance, friction is inevitable. The youth and the modern conundrum. India today is young. A majority of Indians are under 35. They think globally. They consume global culture. They compare themselves with the world. But they operate within outdated structures. Education systems reward memory, not creativity. Institutions punish risk-taking. Merit often competes with connections. So the youth face a dilemma. Adapt quietly. Leave the country. Or fight a slow system. This tension defines modern India. A 21st century population. Running on 19th century institutions. Is the Indian conundrum a failure? No. The Indian conundrum is not a sign of collapse. It is a sign of transition. Civilizations do not modernize overnight. They realign over generations. India is attempting something unprecedented. To modernize. Without erasing its civilizational memory. To stay democratic. While remaining deeply diverse. To become powerful. Without becoming culturally hollow. This path is slow. Messy. Contradictory. But it is also unique. India's struggle is not about incompetence. It is about balance. Between past and future. Between order and freedom. Between civilization and the modern state. The Indian conundrum is not a weakness. It is the price of being ancient and ambitious. India is not late to modernity. India is early to a civilizational resurgence. And the world is only beginning to understand it.